Real Housewives of Potomac star Wendy Osefo and her husband Eddie have been arrested for allegedly reporting a fake burglary and theft. The defendants were indicted by the grand jury for Carroll County in connection with Wendy Osefo. It was 7 counts of insurance fraud, 8 counts of conspiracy to commit insurance fraud. Reality star Wendy Osefo concocted a story so far from reality that she's now facing a string of felony fraud charges. She faked a burglary. She was caught wearing the stolen diamond ring. And now prosecutors say she has 40 credit cards and used fake names to hide her debt. Housewives of Potomac Wendy Osefo is the fiery academic. I put great, but I'm still passing judgments. But this morning, the reality television star and her husband are preparing to defend themselves against fraud charges. The couple accused of faking a burglary at their Maryland home so they could collect insurance money. Dr. Wendy Osefo's perfect life was all a lie. And what I'm about to reveal is absolutely devastating. You know Dr. Wendy Osefo as the educated powerhouse from Real Housewives of Potomac, 4 degrees, a PhD, a professor at Johns Hopkins, the woman who preached about degrees and substance over superficiality. But that was all smoke and mirrors. Behind the designer clothes and cannabis business, a couple drowning in debt, allegedly staging fake burglaries to scam insurance companies out of $450,000. Though the Osefos flaunt their wealth on TV and online, investigators say they're steeped in debt and reported to police they were robbed while on a trip to Jamaica last year, claiming they found their bedroom and both closets to be ransacked and several designer handbags and jewelry had been stolen. A woman who got fired from her university job and a fraud case so damning that it could send her to prison. This is the real story of Wendy Osefo's downfall. And it's worse than you could imagine. April 2024. Wendy and her husband Eddie Osefo are vacationing in Jamaica with their 3 children, living their best lives, posting glamorous photos on Instagram. Meanwhile, back in Reisterstown, Maryland, their house is allegedly being robbed, or so they claimed. When they returned from vacation on April 7, 2024, Wendy reported to police that their home had been burglarized. She claimed approximately 80 luxury items had been stolen from their bedroom, designer handbags, jewelry, high-end clothes. The total value, a whopping $450,000. Wendy told police the intruders broke in through a second-story window. She provided a detailed list of missing items to law enforcement and her insurance company. Everything seemed legitimate. But here's where it gets interesting. Investigators started digging and nothing added up. According to court documents, authorities found a screen with damage lying on the roof and the window was not locked. Police say the Osefos claimed thieves stole 80 items, including jewelry, clothing, and shoes valued at more than $200,000. But court records say some of those things had been returned for refunds, including a $1,500 Dior shirt and $1,000 Gucci wallet. And prosecutors say a search of the Osefos' home turned up at least 15 items that appear to be the same ones claimed stolen during the alleged burglary. A gold diamond anniversary band that they observed in a social media post. That is when they started realizing that this was likely a fabricated claim. But here's the problem. To go in or out of that window, one has to step on the toilet. Think about that. A burglar would have to climb onto a roof, remove a screen, open an unlocked window, and then step onto a toilet to get inside. And somehow they managed to steal 80 items worth nearly $500,000 through this tiny bathroom window. It gets worse. The Osefos had installed an ADT security system and Ring camera specifically for this trip. And guess what? Those cameras showed zero motion detected inside the residence during the alleged burglary. The Ring camera did capture activity, though. Package deliveries, normal daytime traffic, but no burglars, no break-in, nothing. And then investigators discovered the smoking gun. Wendy was photographed wearing one of the diamond rings she claimed was stolen. The photo was posted on her Instagram after she filed the police report. She literally wore the stolen jewelry in public while claiming it was gone. But wait, it gets even more damning. Authorities discovered that over $20,000 worth of items Wendy claimed were stolen had actually been returned to stores for full refunds before the alleged burglary even happened. Let me repeat that. She returned items to stores, got refunds, and then claimed those same items were stolen to collect insurance money. That's not a mistake. That's fraud. October 9, 2025, a Maryland grand jury indicted Wendy and Eddie Osefo on 16 counts of fraud. Wendy faces 7 felony charges of false, misleading information fraud in excess of $300,000. Eddie faces 9 felony charges. They're each also charged with 8 misdemeanor counts of conspiracy to commit fraud and 1 count of making a false statement to a police officer. That same day, police arrived at their Reisterstown home and arrested them both. They were booked, fingerprinted, mugshots taken. Carroll County Sheriff James Dwys held a press conference and dropped bombshell after bombshell. He revealed that detectives concluded Wendy and Eddie fabricated the burglary and filed a false report to defraud their insurance company. He disclosed that when deputies searched the Osefos' house on the day of arrest, they found 15 more items that had been reported stolen just sitting there in the house. 15 items just casually lying around that they claimed were stolen 6 months earlier. And then Sheriff Dwys revealed the most damning evidence. Emails between Wendy and Eddie discussing the insurance claim. One email read, "Are there additional high-value items we can add to this inventory list? I'm trying to get the total to exceed $423,000, which is our policy maximum." Let that sink in. They were actively strategizing how to inflate the claim to get the maximum payout from insurance. That's not a misunderstanding. That's premeditation. Wendy and Eddie were each released on $50,000 bond, but the damage was done. The entire Bravo world was in shock. This wasn't a DUI like Karen Huger. This wasn't a tax issue. This was insurance fraud, a calculated scheme to steal hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, let's talk about what happened to Wendy's career because it imploded. For years, Wendy bragged about being a professor. She constantly reminded everyone about her 4 degrees. Temple University undergrad, Johns Hopkins Master's, Rutgers PhD in Public Affairs, plus a degree from the University of Rwanda. During Season 9 of RHOP, which premiered in October 2024, Wendy shocked audiences by announcing she was resigning from Johns Hopkins University. "I wanted to resign for a very long time. I'm turning 40, but I still have other things to do," Wendy said in a confessional. She claimed she no longer felt fulfilled as a professor and wanted to focus on her 3 children. But many suspected the real reason. She wanted to focus on her cannabis business, Happy Eddie, and her growing Bravo fame. After leaving Johns Hopkins, Wendy took a position at Wesleyan University in Connecticut as a distinguished visiting professor of sociology. She was teaching a class about reality TV and its impact on society. The irony is thick. A reality TV star teaching about reality TV while allegedly committing fraud that would become a reality TV storyline. But then she got arrested. On October 14, 2025, just 5 days after her arrest, Wesleyan University released a statement to TMZ. Wendy Osefo is no longer an employee of Wesleyan University. Fired, terminated, done. A university spokesperson later clarified Dr. Osefo made the voluntary decision to step down from her role. This decision was made independently and communicated directly to the university before any external reports surfaced. Translation: she was forced to resign or be fired. She chose to resign to save face. So now the woman who built her entire identity around being an educated professor who looked down on other housewives for lacking substance has lost both of her university positions. All because of alleged insurance fraud. If you thought the story couldn't get crazier, buckle up. On November 20th, 2025, just days ago, new court filings revealed shocking details about the Osefos' financial situation. Prosecutors filed documents alleging that Wendy and Eddie have approximately 40 credit and/or debit cards, some of which are believed to be in company names. 40 credit cards. That's not normal. That's someone drowning in debt and opening new cards to pay off old ones. But it gets worse. Prosecutors claim Wendy and Eddie used fake aliases to hide their spending patterns. According to court documents, they allegedly used the names Pam Oliver and Eddie Hennessy on financial accounts. Prosecutors wrote, the state anticipates seeing purchases as well as returns on the financial records. Additionally, the state expects such documentation to show a pattern of excessive spending supporting motive in this case. They continued, the state avers that insurance fraud is a financial crime and that the amount of debt owed by the Osefos jointly, individually, and by the businesses that they own is highly relevant to their motive. Translation: Wendy and Eddie were allegedly so deep in debt that they staged a fake burglary to get insurance money to cover their lavish lifestyle. Prosecutors also revealed that Wendy had falsely denied using PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App to buy jewelry. They believe financial records will show she was buying expensive jewelry, returning it for refunds, and then claiming those same pieces were stolen. It's a pattern, a scheme, a calculated con. Eddie's attorney, Joseph Murtha, fired back, describing the prosecutor's requests as a fishing expedition. He questioned the timing, saying prosecutors were looking for something they haven't figured out after 18 months of investigating. But the evidence is mounting, and it's not looking good for the Osefos. Now, let's rewind to 2021 because Wendy's transformation didn't start with the fraud charges. It started with plastic surgery. During the Season 6 premiere of RHP in July 2021, Wendy hosted a nude interlude party to debut her new body. She opened her satin robe to reveal her newly augmented breasts, which she named Happy and Ness. Before the party, viewers saw Wendy visit plastic surgeon Dr. Joseph Michaels for a follow-up. She explained, I breastfed all 3 of my children for over a year, and that takes a toll on your body, so this is one of the first things I've ever done for myself. She admitted to getting a breast augmentation, but when castmate Robin Dixon suggested Wendy also got a Brazilian butt lift because she now had something back there, Wendy got defensive. She initially denied it on camera, but later Wendy took to Twitter to clarify. They are so shady. I told the ladies at the nude interlude dinner that I had a breast augmentation and BBL. Not sure why they did not show that. So, Bravo edited out her admission, making it look like she was hiding procedures. Wendy shared the same plastic surgeon as Dolores Catania from Real Housewives of New Jersey. She even called Dolores before going under the knife for advice. Dolores told her, Wendy, do it. Stop hesitating. Do it. And Wendy did it. Breast augmentation, Brazilian butt lift, liposuction, facial tweaks, the works. But here's the question nobody asked at the time. How did she pay for all of this? Plastic surgery isn't cheap. Dr. Joseph Michaels is a high-end cosmetic surgeon. A Brazilian butt lift alone can cost $10,000 to $15,000. Add breast augmentation, liposuction, and other procedures. We're talking $30,000 to $50,000 minimum. Where did that money come from? Now, in hindsight, with prosecutors alleging the Osefos had 40 credit cards and were drowning in debt, the plastic surgery spending looks very different. Was she charging it all to credit cards she couldn't pay off? Was this part of the excessive spending pattern prosecutors are investigating? The timeline is suspicious. Wendy got plastic surgery in early 2021. By April 2024, she's allegedly staging a fake burglary to scam insurance companies. That's 3 years of escalating financial pressure. Let's talk about how Wendy's castmates reacted because some of them knew something was off. During Season 6, after Wendy debuted her new body, Giselle Bryant started questioning her. I was talking to Robin earlier. We're just chit-chatting. You're like in a whole new space and in a whole new something. I can't put my finger on it. There's a difference, Giselle said. Robin chimed in. I feel like your personality is slightly different. Wendy got defensive. That's a lie. I stand before you as someone who still has multiple degrees, who is still a professor at one of the highest institutions, who's still a commentator. She added, I define my sexiness, not you. Giselle pushed back. I'm saying I can't put my finger on what's different with you with what Robin said with your personality. Wendy responded, I think my personality is me being confident in the skin I'm in, both physically and substantively. Looking back, Giselle and Robin were right. Something had changed with Wendy. She was suddenly obsessed with designer bags, luxury items, and flaunting wealth. And now we know why. She was allegedly funding it all through credit cards and fraud schemes. Then there's Ashley Darby. After Wendy's arrest in October 2025, Ashley threw shade during a performance in Washington, D.C. She sang, "Zen Wen is in the pen," a play on Wendy's Zen persona and the fact that she could go to prison. Ashley later told the audience, "This is just news to y'all," implying that people close to Wendy knew something was coming. At BravoCon in November 2025, Ashley tried to apologize to Wendy on stage. "I can admit that I was maybe a little hot in the pants with what I said about Wendy. When I thought about it later, it wasn't the time or the place." But Wendy refused to accept the apology. She told the audience she would not accept it and was saving her words for the reunion. The tension is real, and Ashley clearly believes Wendy is guilty. So, how is Wendy fighting these charges? With a constitutional defense that legal experts say is a long shot. On October 17, 2025, Wendy's legal team filed motions requesting the judge dismiss all charges. They're arguing the case includes defects in the charging document and that key evidence was obtained through an unlawful search and seizure. They claim Wendy's arrest was illegal, that police didn't have probable cause, that the search of her home violated her Fourth Amendment rights. They're also demanding that any recorded communications be suppressed, calling them unlawfully intercepted. Wendy's attorney told US Weekly, "These are standard motions in Maryland criminal cases, routine legal moves to preserve evidence and assert rights." But legal analysts aren't buying it. David B. Shapiro, a legal expert, explained, "When a high-profile case involves allegations of an illegal arrest, the real question is whether the police followed the law step by step. If they didn't, the evidence falls apart." But here's the problem for Wendy. The evidence is overwhelming. Security camera footage showing no break-in. Photos of her wearing the stolen ring. Items returned to stores before the alleged theft. Emails discussing how to maximize the insurance claim. 15 stolen items found in her house during the arrest. That's not circumstantial evidence. That's a mountain of proof. Eddie's attorney is also pushing back, claiming prosecutors are on a fishing expedition looking for financial records after 18 months of investigation. But prosecutors aren't backing down. They're demanding copies of all financial records, credit card statements, PayPal transactions, Venmo payments, and Cash App activity. They want to prove the Osefos were in massive debt and stage the burglary as a desperate cash grab. And based on the 40 credit cards and fake aliases, it's looking like prosecutors have a strong case. Wendy and Eddie are due back in court in the coming weeks. They're facing years in prison if convicted. 7 felony charges for Wendy, 9 for Eddie. Each felony carries potential prison time. If convicted, Wendy could be looking at 5 to 10 years behind bars. Eddie could face even more. Their 3 children, Carter, Cruz, and Carter, would be left without both parents. The family would be destroyed. At BravoCon in November 2025, Wendy addressed the charges publicly for the first time since her October Instagram post. "I read your messages. I can't respond to everyone, but your love and support means the world to me," she told the audience. She added, "I will share my story with everyone when the time is right." But that time might be at the Season 10 reunion because Wendy is still filming RHOP, still appearing on the show, still collecting her Bravo paycheck. Andy Cohen addressed the situation on his Sirius XM show on October 13th. "I'm really sad about this. I'm a Wendy fan, and she has been a great housewife and a great role model. She's always led with education and her solid family values. And so I'm really thinking about her and her family. And I'm certainly hoping that this is all some big nothing. But it's not nothing. The evidence is damning. The charges are serious. And prosecutors are building a case that could send both Wendy and Eddie to prison." Meanwhile, Season 10 of RHP is airing every Sunday. Fans are watching Wendy on their screens while she's actively fighting felony fraud charges in real life. The cognitive dissonance is wild. Dr. Wendy Osefo's downfall is one of the most spectacular in Real Housewives history. Because it's not about drunk fights or petty drama. This is fraud. Serious, go-to-prison fraud. The woman who spent years bragging about her 4 degrees and her professor credentials has been fired from 2 universities and arrested on 16 criminal charges. The woman who preached about substance over superficiality was allegedly funding her designer lifestyle with 40 credit cards and fake aliases. The woman who looked down on other housewives for lacking education was allegedly scheming to defraud insurance companies out of $450,000. She wore the stolen ring in public. She returned items for refunds and then claimed they were stolen. She sent emails strategizing how to maximize the insurance payout. That's not a mistake. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a crime. And now she's facing the consequences. Lost her teaching jobs, facing felony charges, looking at potential prison time. Her husband Eddie is in the same boat. Their 3 young children are watching their parents fight for their freedom. The cannabis business they launched, Happy Eddie, is now tainted by scandal. Their reputation is destroyed. Their financial situation is allegedly catastrophic. Wendy posted on Instagram after her arrest. And through it all, God remains faithful. Thank you for the outpouring of love, support, and prayers for myself and, most importantly, my family during this time. The audacity to promote the show while facing felony charges is stunning. But that's who Wendy has become. Someone more concerned with her image than the truth. More worried about her Bravo paycheck than her integrity. She refuses to accept Ashley's apology. She claims her arrest was illegal. She's playing the victim while prosecutors pile up evidence against her. The trial is coming. The evidence is overwhelming. And the outcome looks bleak for the Osefos. This isn't a storyline. This isn't entertainment. This is a woman who allegedly committed serious crimes and is now facing the music. And the worst part, she brought it all on herself. That's the real tragedy of Dr. Wendy Osefo's downfall. Do you think Wendy and Eddie are guilty? Will they go to prison? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into the darkest scandals in reality TV, smash that subscribe button because this case is far from over. This was the shocking truth about Wendy Osefo's downfall.